All right, this summer, it really has felt like the world is on fire, all right? I mean, it just everywhere you look, there seems to be a war or a disaster or a foreign policy entanglement that seems head-scratchingly impossible to deal with. Of course, the critics of the president are happy to take a little victory lap and point to the president as the source of this. And that is the question. What exactly is the president in the U.S.'s role in a Middle East that seems aflame right now, in a world that seems teetering on instability? And would it be possible for the U.S. to do anything to make it better, or was the U.S. trying to, quote, make it better, the source of that instability in the first place?
Yeah, the U.S. Welcome to Give Me Five. Chris Hayes, MSNBC. Sure, the U.S. Trash the U.S. Trash them first. Was the U.S. the source of this instability? Sure, the U.S. is the reason for radical Islamic terrorism all over the world. Don't you know that by its mere existence? Well, mainly George W. Bush. We're not sure how, but George W. Bush, and by the way, George W. Bush. Here's more.
President Obama is a president of a country, and he continues the legacy of the country. His legacy right now in Iraq is constantly too little, too late, too little, too late.
But okay, I've heard that from a lot of people, and this and there is a sort of synergy between the too little, too late critique that you hear from Iraqis and from John McCain, Lindsey Graham, right, neocons. There's sort of the agreement on this. There is that, right?
All right.
My question is, would more earlier be better? Because if there was more earlier, my sense is we would be having a whole other set of discussions about what a cluster.
What a cluster, yeah. That's a representative, by the way, of the founder of Women for Women International, saying that, you know, Barack Obama, the criticism of him in Iraq and elsewhere is inaction, indecisive, and Chris Hayes can't tolerate it. He has to bring it back to, well, if the U.S. did do more and did do more earlier, it would just be worse than it is now because, you know, it's the U.S. and we're bad. There's a theme here, more.
We cannot look at Iraq in an isolated way. Iraq and now ISIS and the division of the country right now is part of a longer strategy that includes Saudi Arabia, that includes Egypt, that includes Syria and Jordan and all the neighboring countries.
Right.
We have to look at, America has to make that constructive decision. We're intervening in a constructive way where we look at the region and the interconnection of the region, or we pull out completely and let the region handle itself.
All right, she makes an interesting point. She makes an interesting point. Either we do what's needed, and this is her proposal, or, and of course what's needed is up for debate and discussion and interpretation, or we get the heck out. We throw up our hands, as some would have us do, and say, dead Christians, you know, who are dead ethnic minorities, a caliphate from here to there, including Jordan, you know, whatever. Let the chips fall where they may, nuclear Iran, whatever, we're done. We'll just sit back and watch it all. Problem is, it impacts us. Forget the humanitarian issues. It impacts our national security. And once you give them that, they'll start being emboldened and strengthened and in mind and in spirit and in fact, and then they come after the West and come after us. Here's more.
So now you look at what's happening with ISIS, and I think everyone looks at ISIS basically across the political spectrum in the world and is aghast, right? I mean, I don't, like, it's hard to, like, it's ghastly. It's ghastly, right? Everyone looks at ISIS and thinks, oh my God. And
even Al-Qaeda.
Even Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda's like, you guys are too violent for us.
Right.
Stop it. Stop beheading everyone, right?
But Al-Qaeda is not a moderate group. So
I'm not saying they are, but I'm just saying that.
Right.
So, Ali, what I see is I see an interventionist story about this, which we're going to get to in a second, about a certain critic who gave an interview about this, which is basically U.S. not intervening in Syria, not helping the moderate opposition, gave rise to ISIS. And then I see an anti-interventionist thing that says it's the U.S. war in Iraq that brought ISIS about, right?
All right, I want you to see now his final analysis.
If you look across the region, it just feels like, oh my God, it's all burning. Right? I mean, that's how it feels like, right?
Absolutely.
This isn't me just like as an American looking over there.
No,
like,
it is burning.
That maybe that's just what the world looks like as America recedes from the...
All right, maybe now that's just what the world looks like. As we recede from hands-on approaches, the world burning. Maybe that's just what we have to accept, says Chris Hayes. After all, the more we interject ourselves, the worse it gets. Think about it.